Have you ever had that feeling where you've built something that looks amazing from the outside, but on the inside you're just completely running on empty? Well, today we're going to dive into a framework that's designed to fix that exact problem. It's a whole new way of thinking about business that puts your well-being first, not just the bottom line.
Just let that sink in for a second. Build the business your nervous system won't have to recover from. It's such a powerful idea, isn't it? Because so many of us have felt that slow burn exhaustion where it feels like your own dream is something you need a vacation from. And that's the exact pain point we're tackling here.
And this leads us right into something the source material calls the entrepreneur's trap. You know what this is? It's that bizarre situation where you hit all your goals, you're technically successful, but instead of celebrating, you just feel like you're surviving day to day. The dream just becomes a grind.
And here's why that happens. So much business advice completely misses this one critical point. We're taught all the strategies, the systems, the skills, but they ignore the most important part of the equation, the emotional work. You're not just building a company, you're building yourself. And if you ignore that, even the best plans in the world can lead straight to burnout.
So, what's the way out of this trap? Well, the idea here is a fundamental shift in how you see yourself. It's about a new equation, a new identity that reframes how we think of ourselves as builders.
So let's look at this shift. On one side, you've got the classic entrepreneur, the innovator, the risk taker, the person who sparks that initial brilliant idea. But that's not the whole story. On the other side, you have the emotionally intelligent business developer. This person sustains, they build trust, and so importantly, they use their own emotions as data. See, it's not just about starting the fire. It's about knowing how to tend to it so it lasts for the long haul.
And this brings us to the core method itself, emotional math TEMS. Now, this isn't just a vibe or a feel-good concept. It's a science-backed framework. It is the practical how-to guide for becoming this new type of builder, blending that deep emotional intelligence with real-world soul-aligned business strategy.
Okay, now we're going to get personal. The whole idea here is that one-size-fits-all business advice is pretty much doomed to fail because, well, we're all wired differently. So the very first step is a bit of diagnosis. You've got to understand your own natural built-in style.
Because once you can answer this question, you can finally stop fighting against your own nature and start building with it. You can stop swimming upstream.
So, the framework breaks it down into 4 core types. As I run through these, see if you recognize yourself. First, you've got the fire starter, the absolute idea machine, the innovator, but they might struggle to see things through. Then there's the grounder. This is the expert, the master of their craft, but they can sometimes resist new ideas. Maybe you're the ocean. You're a natural builder of systems and processes, but that caution can sometimes stifle creativity. Or are you fresh air, the ultimate connector, the hustler with incredible energy that can get scattered without a clear focus? Each one has a superpower, and each one has a growth edge.
All right, so once you have a hunch about your type, what's next? You need a roadmap, and that is exactly what the alignment framework is. It's your practical, step-by-step guide to building a business that actually feels good and is truly sustainable.
And here is that whole roadmap. I want you to notice the logic here, because it's brilliant. It starts from the inside out. You first align with your emotional truth and learn to manage your emotional mechanics. Only then do you move outward to communicating your brand and designing a business structure that actually supports who you are. It's a complete path from inner clarity to real outer success.
I love this slide. This is the core math of the entire system right here. It's so simple, but so true. If you have a big vision, but you're not aligned with it emotionally, the result is always exhaustion. But when you take that same vision and add alignment, that's when you find flow. This is exactly why that first step is completely non-negotiable.
Now, to really bring all this to life, there's this powerful metaphor for the journey. It's not a ladder you climb, where the path is straight and obvious. No, it's a maze you have to navigate.
So, let's picture our fire starter. They burst into the maze, buzzing with 1,000 new ideas, chasing every spark, until, bam, they hit a dead end. The lesson is crystal clear. Vision is amazing, but it needs structure to actually go somewhere.
Next up, the grounder. They enter the maze so carefully, relying on their deep expertise, mapping out what they know. But when the path twists into something totally unknown, they freeze. Their lesson? Mastery is powerful, but it's got to be paired with flexibility.
Then we have the ocean, who comes in with a perfect laminated map.
Every step is planned out. But the maze? Well, the maze has other ideas. It twists and turns in ways no one could predict. The lesson? Even the best plans in the world need adaptability.
And finally, in comes fresh air, just bouncing off the walls with energy, chasing every shiny object and new opportunity. Their momentum is incredible, but they just end up running in circles. Their lesson is that momentum without a meaningful direction is just another way to burn out.
And this is the big aha moment they all have when they finally reach the center of the maze. They realize that no single type holds the whole answer. Innovation without systems just falls apart. Expertise without risk gets stagnant. Planning without adaptability gets you stuck. And momentum without meaning just burns you out. They all need each other's strengths to really make it through.
And that brings us to what might be the biggest takeaway of this whole thing. This quote from the author, Zena, just reframes everything. We think the goal is to build this successful business, this destination. But maybe the business was never the point. Maybe it was only ever a mirror, reflecting who we are and who we're becoming along the way.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. What if you really shifted your perspective? What if you stopped seeing your business as this thing you have to get to, this destination, and instead you started seeing it as the mirror for your own growth? What would change for you tomorrow if you truly believed that?